If you're anything like me, at least half of all the judgments you make on a daily basis serve no real purpose other than to boost your ego. All the little criticisms about so and so not doing their part, or what they should, or living up to your expectations, or otherwise acting in a way that you'd prefer. More often than not, such observations have little to no practical utility. For example, a personal pet peeve of mine is crappy drivers. My ego has no difficulty whatsoever in finding fault in other people's poor driving decisions. In fact, I'll often find myself cursing the stupidity of other motorists for not obeying the rules of the road or exhibiting proper driving etiquette, like when you let someone in and they don't give you the obligatory thank you wave. So it's a continual challenge to strive to suppress such negative thought patterns while behind the wheel. Upon reflection, however, what is the point of such petty judgments? If some distracted driver stops in the middle of the road or otherwise gets in your way, does it really matter? 9 times out of 10, it doesn't. Maybe they delay you by a few seconds. More often than not, it's nothing more than a minor inconvenience. So, what is the point in getting all worked up over that? Well, one reason is that it's certainly food for the ego. The ego loves being right. It loves to feel superior. And if that means insulting or demeaning other people to look better by comparison, then so be it. You would never do something so foolish, now would you? So why not criticize them when they do idiotic things? They deserve it, after all. This is the way the ego tends to think, in terms of fairness and zero-sum games where everything has to be tit for tat, an eye for an eye. You offend me or get in my way? Well, screw you. You see, it's all about me, me, me. But playing into the ego's hand like this is ultimately a hollow prize. It'll only make you feel more miserable in the long run. Because here's the thing, there will always be crappy drivers. And pointing it out will only make you notice them more. It's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. And think of it this way, maybe even they're decent drivers ordinarily, it's just that they happen to be distracted in that moment or made a bad decision. Mistakes happen. But the ego doesn't care about that. It will only ever make excuses for itself, never on behalf of others. That's just its nature. It's selfish by definition. Another important thing to note is that negative judgments rarely ever change anything either. When it comes to driving, these events almost always involve total strangers who you'll probably never see again. So what good does it do pointing out their flaws? It doesn't help you, it just makes you more upset. And it doesn't help them because you can't very well talk to them when you're stuck in your separate vehicles. That's not exactly a recipe for having a constructive dialogue. All it really does then is feed the ego and give you a temporary feeling of superiority. So instead, how about practicing non-judgment? How about loosening up a bit and just letting things slide without expecting everyone to be perfect all the time? In other words, try to be more patient and less quick to judge. To that end, what I've been opting to do instead lately is that whenever I catch myself cursing or criticizing another driver, I'll say out loud the word judgment, judgment, as sort of a reminder of what I'm doing. And just the act of noting this automatically helps diffuse the anger and negative emotions. It breaks the habitual circuitry and restores some awareness and neutrality to the situation, where you don't have to get caught up in the silly drama again. The hope is that, with enough consistent practice, the act of slipping up and judging in the first place will eventually begin to subside. Or even when it does resurface, it at least won't have the same forcefulness as before. meaning you'll be able to stay calmer and more present and not get swept up in the negative emotion. To not allow the minor stuff to get to you so much, that's the goal. So, what's an area in your life where you tend to be overly judgmental? Can you think of anything? Let us know in the comments below, and I invite you to try this little experiment of recognizing and labeling it as such by simply saying aloud, judgment or judging, whenever you notice yourself falling back into that unproductive, ego-based behavior. I bet you'll find it surprisingly effective. But until next time, thank you for watching and have a great day.